Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Factorio Beginner's Guide. My name's Negative, and let's get cracking. Today we're going to be working on a few different things. I'm going to cover a couple of things that popped up in the comments, and we'll see how we go. I streamed a bit of work on this factory a couple of days ago now, and we got to a stage where I'm actually pretty happy with the factory. I had some help from Saiyn the Dragon, who's a streamer on Twitch. Really nice fellow. I'll link all these people in the description below. Xterminator and also MadZuri. Now, we did a lot of work on the factory, but I've come down here to show you the train system. Now, don't get really angry because I set it up without you. It took quite a bit of time. You know, it's not the kind of thing that you can fit into 20 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a chat about what you want to do with your train system when you move past the point of just running it from A to B. Okay, so we've got, this happening here, but now we're having to, we're going to have to go and build outposts and gather resources from further afield. And there's going to be more than one train flying around. So what do we need to do? Well, let's just head back up real quick to our existing train network, because I want to have a chat about a few things really quickly. Just to start at the very basics, and then we can move on to what I showed just then. Now, the important parts about a train network are, firstly, that you put the train station on the right side of the track. Okay, and when I say right side of the track, that's what I actually literally mean. It needs to be on the right side of the track as the train comes in. You'll notice that if I have another train station and I try and put it on the left-hand side of the track, see how those arrows are pointing there? Okay, if I place this here and then instructed this train to come to I Am Groot. good name. Excellent name. Yes, good. If I tried to tell this to come to I Am Groot, it's not going to, because there's no actual pathway coming in this direction. So know that this is a thing. Now, the other thing is the signals, right? If you place some signals down incorrectly, you'll get something called a no path error, and it's very frustrating for new players. You notice that the train is just sitting there right now. If I place this down, okay, notice the arrows, the direction of the arrows. Notice how they're pointing up. Gives me a no path error, and that's because the signal is backwards. It can't go against the grain. Okay, having one signal there like that will prevent that train from moving. If I put a second down, that's fine, because you'll notice that when I hover over this, these two signals are actually linked. So that's a way that you can get signals on a track, and that's a little bit about how signals work. Basically, signals will prevent a train from moving into a block when there is another train there already. But because we've got that really simple system, we're not going to have more than one train on it at a time. This system down here, though, we are going to have more than one train. We're going to have, 5 or 6 trains, maybe. Because that's all we'll need. Okay. Now, I want to show you guys how to set up the signaling for this station. I deliberately left it blank because I knew that I wanted to cover it here. So you'll notice that I have signals here and here. Okay, these control the in and the out for this station area. Now we're going to need a couple of these rail signals, and then we're also going to need some chain signals as well. Now the difference between the two is one just looks into the block and the other actually looks past it. So say we've got something that looks like this, and then say we've got something that looks like this. Main signal, where'd it go? Here it is. Found it. Okay, so if I was a train, you actually get a wagon. So if I was a train, okay, and I was coming along, what I'm going to do is I am going to be looking in each block ahead to see if there is already a train there. Okay, so say there's a train here. This signal will go red and another train will stop here. Okay, fairly simple. Good. This is how normal signals work. I would assume that most people would understand this concept. Signals prevent crashes. Right? The chain signal, on the other hand, actually looks ahead. Okay? So what it looks for is, does it have an exit? Okay, so you can prevent trains queuing in that block. So say we don't want anything in this block. Say we have a junction, an intersection of two lines. Okay, and we don't want trains to sit across this. So if we have a train, right? If we have a train like sitting here, obviously nothing can run north-south. This kind of configuration is bad. You'd avoid this kind of looking, but I'm trying to show you that the chain signal prevents anything being in between these two. Okay, it will never queue between these two. If this was a normal signal, a train could potentially stop in here, and this would be bad. So these are the two kinds of signals, and we have to be aware of that, because train signals will allow you to create a rail network that is completely undeadlockable. Rightio, so let's do the signals. Now, this here is a common crossover point, and there can only ever be one train in it at a time. So what we want to do is we want to say, right, well, we want trains to be able to move in and move out, but never queue across it. Whoa, my lord. I nearly died. Yep, that just nearly happened. And yes, you know that expression, make sure you pack clean underwear? Apparently that applies to making YouTube videos as well. Now, we don't want things to queue across this line, so you'll notice that this has given me a no path error now, and that's because I put this signal down. Now what we want is we want chain signals heading back out. The reason being is we don't want anything to queue in this little area, okay? So we want chain signals there, and we also want a chain signal here, because we don't want them to queue on the way in either. So this configuration will allow us to run multiple trains into these stations, and the closest they will ever get to the station is here, okay? If there's a train already in the station, and I will demonstrate, okay? Our wagon, our good old wagon. There's a train, and this is a train. There's a train waiting in the station. This chain signal will actually stop trains here. They won't come in to this point. Ta-da! Right, so this is the theory behind it. Now, when this train moves out of this area, chain signal will let the train go. Now, the configuration of the track is very, very easy. Now, I like to use left-hand drive, okay? It's very, very important that you establish the convention straight off the bat. Are you going left-hand drive? Are you going right-hand drive? Don't flip them. Once you've... and generally speaking, just go with whatever side of the road your country drives on. Okay, if you drive on the right-hand side in your country, you do trains on the right-hand side. If you drive on the left-hand side in the country, like Australia, okay, we drive on the left here, that's what we're going to do. I like driving on the left because then the signals are actually on the inside of the rails. Now, what we need to do is we just need to throw down pairs of signals at rough intervals, because this will allow smooth flow. Now, the ideal distance between two signals is actually the length of your longest train. I'll say that again. The ideal distance between two signals is the length of your longest train. The reason being is that then a train can sit inside a block, okay, and another train can sit behind it, and things can caterpillar along. Now, the next important thing about signaling rail junctions, okay, and as I said, you got to establish what convention you're using, drive on the left, drive on the right, whatever it might be, and then stick to it, okay? If I get a signal backwards, okay, say I'm like, I got a signal backwards, what's going to happen is we're going to get a no path error here, okay? And it's not the train's fault. The train is very, very simple. It drives on the left if you set it up that way. See how it's giving me no path? And that's because I got signals backwards. Okay, the two reasons for having no path error is backwards signals or backwards train stations. Basically, something somewhere is backwards, go fix it. Alright, there's going to be a train coming very shortly. I'll try and not get struck by it. And this is, the beginnings of a good train network. Now, I want to show you guys the outpost real quickly. It's very, very easy. All you want to do is you just want to combine the rail into one, throw down your loading station, and obviously have your miners down. Some defenses, very important. You know, we set up this outpost. Literally, we jumped in the train, we got to about here, and the outpost was already being attacked. And I was like, well, of course we need defenses, so we had to go back. Now, the loading station, don't really worry about this too much. This is a very advanced design by MadZuri. He wanted to show me this, and yeah, I was impressed. Basically, what it does is it will load the boxes evenly. So every box will have the even amount of resources in it. That's all it does. Okay, it's a combinator-wise. It's a little bit complicated, but I don't even understand it. I couldn't explain it to you if I tried. But yeah, it just loads the boxes evenly so that when the train arrives, it theoretically loads at max speed because all the boxes have something in them. We used to do that with splitters. And it used to be quite bulky. You know, it was quite sizable in terms of its footprint. That design is far superior, I believe. But don't worry about that. Just get the stuff on the train. As long as the stuff is getting on the train, it's fine. Don't worry too much about how you've designed your loading station. And this is, you know, our starting point. Now, say I want to, go down here and grab this iron point and create an outpost down here. All I would do is I would extend the line, put in a T-junction, and go down and do it. It's just a simple matter of extending the rail network because we've got our stations in play now. Our stations are accepting ore, and they're plugged into the main bus. Now, this is the advantage of building the factory such as we've done it, is that we can get away with, just adding things to it gradually. As our abilities increase, as our supply increases, we can just plug more and more lines in. You'll notice now we've got 4 full lines coming in. Now, this is a preemptive for the next step in my factory. The next step is going to be to actually redesign the entire furnace area across to advanced furnaces. So you see here, I've built 100 of them, and actually I might just count up how many actually I've got here. 111 down. So I think that building, say, 150, 160 advanced furnaces is what we need to do. So we'll go in here, we'll change this to 160 set. Better bing, better bomb. Because that's kind of the next step in this factory. You'll notice that everything's running nice and smoothly. Research is ready to be done. And right now, we're just kind of idling through the research. Because this is what we need to do. We just need to get through the research. After we've upgraded our furnace, we're going to come back and do speed modules. Not speed modules, just modules in general. Because we're going to need lots of modules to start building up to the rocket defense. I'm expecting that this series will be finished up by about episode 30 to 35 is probably where we'll end up, depending on how things go. Now, the next thing that I wanted to cover is belt balancing. Now, there's been lots of questions about, you spoke about belt balancing and how you were going to do it, and you haven't covered it. Yeah, I know. That's because it's not that important. I just want to point out that it's a 10% thing. You don't really gain huge amounts of efficiency by balancing your belts and doing it well. You gain a little bit, it's definitely worthwhile if you're interested in, improving your factory that little bit. But let's have a chat about belt balancers now. This here is correct. So this belt balancer, okay, what you want to do is you want to make sure that all 4 lines can access all 4 lines. All right, so you want this line to be able to go to here, 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 and here. You want this line to be able to go to here, 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 and here. You want this line to go to here, 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 and here. And this line to here, 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 and here. Right? So basically all you want is, you just need to be able to cross the things over twice, is all you need to do. So if you look here, we've got these 4 splitters coming into 2 underground belts. So this is the first cross, okay? You can see here, if I trace this back, right, a splitter here. So this is the first cross here, and then we've got a second cross here. So by crossing it over twice, all 4 lanes can access all 4 lanes, and that will balance all 4 lines evenly. It won't balance the lanes themselves, okay? It'll balance each belt. So it'll balance per belt, not per lane. Balancing per lane would mean that the left and right hand sides of a lane are even as well. The footprint for that is much larger, and it's not needed because, again, we have a furnace design, okay, that is inherently balanced. Okay, if I start drawing off one side of a line, if I can get close enough, all that happens is one side, like one of my factories will, these furnaces will just kick into gear. That's all that happens. Now, moving up the line, when we get into the factory proper, we've got some balances here that were actually implemented by MadZuri. He came along and did all these for me. I don't really worry about it too much. I get it close enough and that's fine, but he's actually done it correctly. So what we have here is 1/4 of the belt, of the 4 belts moving into this line here. So you notice that we've got these 2, these skip underneath. And here's the thing, right? So we've got these 2 belts, and because this is hooked into a splitter, that means that we've got 1/4. Okay? So we've got 2 lines, that's obviously 50% of 4, and then we've got the 1 line coming across here. You notice that we maintain a 4-line throughput at all times, and this is the trick to it, is that you don't want to just be like, okay, I want 25%, let's just cap one of our lines, and have 3 lines after it. The key to this was actually maintaining those 4 lines, and the way that it's done is just by using these underground belts, the splitters, to create the space. Up here, you notice that we've got a similar thing, but again, we're splitting 50%. Okay, half goes here, the other half goes here. 50%, 25%, sorry, and 25%. Basically, the belt balancing is a minor concern. It's not a huge thing, and it's not something that you absolutely have to do. It's just if you're interested, you can take a screenshot of this. I'll zoom right in. Take a screenshot. This is both 50% and 25% as well. If you want 50%, all you do is split this underground belt here, and you got a 50%. All right. Good. Glad we had that conversation. What's the time at? 18 minutes. Yeah, well, I'll talk a little bit about what we did on stream. And actually, if you'd like to follow me on Twitch, the link is in the description as always. What did we do? Well, we put up a bunch of defenses around the edge because we're a little bit undefended. Okay, so we've got a bunch of defenses, and we also cleared out all the biters, within this range. So we went driving around in tanks, and it was a lot of fun because there was a lot of lag. Saiyn made it to here, and then I think he went AFK for a little while. So he built a little outpost for himself. And that was just all that we needed to do to get this factory back on track. Before that, I was just getting constant biter attacks. The factory was actually being eaten in some places, and yeah, it was a little bit tough. But with their help, we got there in the end. We also automated explosives and also our tank shells. There was a bit of conversation about different kinds of tank shells, but I'll cover that in a moment. So basically, automating our explosives was really easy because they require sulfur in the first step to create explosives, and then plastics in the second step to actually create the shells. So it made sense to put it near this station, which had both resources really close by. So we just throw them in a chemical plant with some mortar, creates the explosive for us, and then that comes up here to create the cannon shells. Now the shells themselves, cannon shells do more damage than explosive shells. Explosive shells are good against the smaller biters. The proper cannon shells themselves are better against the bigger biters. I think it was the conclusion that we'd come to. So yeah, that's the factory as it stands right now. I hope that this has explained a little bit about how to do trains and how things are going to move forward from here. In the next episode, we're going to start looking at building a factory for our modules. So I look forward to seeing you then.